What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I will be reviewing a beer from the Surly Brewing Company, and they're out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and this is their Todd The Axe Man. So this is an American IPA that comes in at 7.2% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed, although they do say low on the IBU scale. And at the time of review, this can is just under 1 month old. So full disclosure, I've had this one before. I actually had it about 4 years ago, and it's because of a great friend of mine, Dan. He picked this up on a trip he took to the Wisconsin area. Wisconsin area, it's a state. He went to Wisconsin. I forgot exactly where. It might have been Milwaukee, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, he picked up some beers to take back home, and he hooked me up with this one. And I didn't know much about it or whatever, and it was one of my favorite beers of 2015. Actually, I shared this one with a former beer tuber, Johnny, over at the now defunct Crafty Beer Reviews, and we loved it. We thought it was amazing. They are using Citra and Mosaic hops in this one, and then just Golden Promise for the malt base. And yeah, it was amazing. Back in 2015, you're talking when I think we reviewed this probably like 4.5 years ago. Yeah, it was one of the best IPAs I had to date. Now, over the last 4.5 years, things went a bit haywire when it comes to IPAs. Things are crazy. So I'm hoping that this one is still quite delicious. I just remember it being just out of this world. Now, this was originally a collaboration between Surly and Amager out of Denmark. And I think now Surly just brews this one. I think it's like a rotating release. I don't know. I don't think it's year round, but it might be, though. I don't know if anybody out there knows. They have a little bit of a spiel on the back here talking about, the characters and why they brewed it and everything. But we're not going to read that. We're just going to get into it. That's what we're going to do. Anyway, let's crack this one open. Pour it into the Trillium glass and see what we got going on here. So this was one of those beers that, even though it didn't look super hazy and crazy and all that stuff, it still had like big fruity notes to it. It was just kind of out of this world. Oh, smell a little beer here? Not today. Anyway, that is a really deep honey orange color. It is hazy, but it's not super murky or anything. Has about a half finger of this off-white soap sudsy looking head. Yeah, it definitely doesn't look, the head to me doesn't look great, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Just the looks of the beer. Let's get nose. Yeah, it smells really nice. Definitely getting the malt base is like this biscuity, crackery, just like base, slight malt base, and then over top of it, tons of citrus fruit, sweeter tangerine, orange, ruby red grapefruit. A little bit of like peach, apricot, stone fruits. Slight herbaceous dankness over top of everything. Really like the citrus character here. It's a really sweeter, like just orange and tangerine. It's super nice. Yeah, it honestly, for 7.2%, it smells like it's going to be like a 5.5%, 6% like pale ale. It just that malt base has that biscuity, crackery type of thing going on, and then just all those citrus fruits on top. It doesn't smell like this super overly complex, huge beer, and it's 7.2%. So I don't know. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Right from the get-go, certainly not as good as I remember it, and that's just how it works, So many times I've consumed a beer 4 or 5 years ago and come back to it, and it's just not the same as I remember it. But this is good. I remember the original can I had of it. Was it a can or was it a bottle? Might have been a bottle. I can't remember. But I just remember it just being like just super juicy and like fresh citrus, fresh like tropical stone fruits, just a big juicy fruit bomb of a beer. And this one, while I get like nuances of that up front, it's a little bit more bitter than I remember it, and a little bit more like just dry and not as fruit forward. There's a touch of like floral component here, a little bit of dankness, herbaceousness as well. Body on this one's medium, slightly above medium for 7.2%. It's appropriate. The mouthfeel, it has a little soft smoothness thing going on, but there's definitely a decent heft of, I wanted to say kick, or I said heft, decent kick of carbonation. Yeah, mouthfeel and the body, fine by me. Nothing crazy or anything, but just fine. The taste though, like right up front, tons of those citrus fruits, but it's not like the juicy, sweeter citrus fruits I was getting in the nose. It's more of like a slightly acidic, almost slightly tart. It sounds weird. It sounds like maybe this beer's tart or something, but it's not the citrus fruit that you're accustomed to when you're talking about like a sweeter, like candied orange or something like that. It's just more of like a regular just juiciness from the citrus fruits. It's not sweeter, but orange and tangerine, regular white grapefruit passes through the palate. There's that herbaceous dankness hits. There's an omnipresent like that bready, biscuity malt character, but it gets kind of lost in the taste. It was bigger in the nose, which is surprising to me. Finishes slightly dry and moderately bitter. I don't remember this one being as bitter as it is. I don't know. This is not as good as I remember it. Yeah, I don't know what it is about this one, but it's a solid, good beer, but this blew my mind 4.5 years ago, like just was setting a new standard at the time. And now I'm drinking this one and I'm just like, yeah, it's solid. It's good. I have no problems drinking it, but it's just not my jam, so to speak. It's just pretty solid American IPA. Nothing more, nothing less. I feel like I'm going to be in the minority when it comes to this one as far as like rating and just in personal enjoyment, because I mean, everybody I've seen ever drink this one, going back to 5 years ago when I first saw this, people reviewing this and whatnot, everybody loved this one, and me too. I definitely did. I loved this beer. It was amazing. Right now, as I'm drinking this one, it's solid, just solid for me. I thought I was gonna love this one. It's just solid. So I got to be honest with you guys. Again, every beer I review and beer reviews in general, subjective. Somebody might be drinking this one right now and being like, this is a 5 out of 5 amazing beer. And you're right, it is. It is a 5 out of 5 for you. For me, the best I can do for Todd The Axe Man from Surly, 3.5 out of 5. I can't believe I just said 3.5 out of 5. This beer on tap for me 4.5 years ago got a 5 out of 5. It's probably my palate. Maybe it's the batch. Maybe it's a lot of things. But for me, this beer is a 3.5 out of 5 when I'm tasting this glass. And I am super bummed about it because we just got Surly, a one-time drop, they said, in the West New York area. A bunch of different places, like, one-time drop of Surly. We're not getting distribution of Surly in our area right now. It's just a one-time drop. It was this and their Furious, which I will be reviewing for the next... I'm going to review this, then do the Furious, and the Furious should be out like 7 to 10 days after this one. But those are the two beers that showed up, and I was like, oh, man, I can't believe we're getting Surly. I'm going to pick up one of each, and I was so pumped about this one because of my history with it. Falls short. It just does. It just doesn't have the intensity that 7.2% beer should have in the taste. The aroma was, I smelled already kind of light, and it tastes like kind of like a 5.5%, 6% pale ale. But I don't know. As you can see, I'm kind of just disappointed. 7.2%, I really can't taste the alcohol, but man, let me just take one more sip here before I close this out, because I feel so bad for I feel like whatever, ratings or whatever, but like for me, I'm just like, if this was the 5 out of 5, I'd be so happy right now. Yeah, it's a solid beer. 3.5 out of 5. Todd The Axe Man from Surly. I don't know what else to say. Value and availability. Here's the unfortunate part. I paid like $4.50 for that can, so that's a bummer from that aspect. I don't know what the going rate in this is around Minneapolis or anywhere close to Minnesota. I'd imagine it's probably like $16 a 4-pack, somewhere in that range, maybe 14. But if anybody can get this regularly, you're around Minneapolis, you're in Minnesota, let me know what the going rate on this is price-wise, and availability. Availability, we're getting it here in Western New York, one-time drop, but I think the Surly gets some distribution outside of Minnesota. I don't know exactly, so again, if somebody knows, let me know, but for the most part, really disappointed in this beer, and it really hurts me because, like I said, this was an amazing beer, and when I saw this show up, I was like, man, I remember the memories of it being amazing, and I picked up a can, and if it was good, I was going to go back and probably get a 4-pack or 2, because that's how good this beer is. I don't think I'm going to get any more, and that's disappointing. So, Todd The Axe Man, 3.5 out of 5 from Surly. If you've had this beer before, and you've had this specific batch, now, at the time of review, this is just under a month old, I believe, especially in the Western New York area. This can-on date was September 4th of 2019. So if you've had this specific batch, let me know what you think about it. Maybe it's a batch variation. Maybe, something happened. I don't know. But for me, this is just not hitting me like it did the first time, and whatever. It happens. That's why I review all these beers. That's why we got to try them to see how they are. So my palate, clearly in a way different place than it was 4.5 years ago, and that's fine by me. Just kind of disappointed. Anyway, appreciate everybody stopping by. To the next one, cheers.